Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is Sunday. Sorry I didn't post a video yesterday. I had a little bit of a problem with my spreadsheet. Got it somewhat resolved. I had to put in the data manually, but we'll go through the miners versus Bitcoin for the week. See how Bitcoin obviously did, see how the miners did for the week. We'll also take a look at short interest on the miners that I cover, and we'll take a look at as well as analysts and institutions, see if anything has changed. There are some changes in that, so we'll go over those changes as well. And then we'll call it a day, and then we'll see obviously how the week shapes up for us. I think it's gonna be another bad week. Oil is obviously pumping, so we'll see how that plays out. All right, as always, you know the drill. Not financial advice. I am invested in the following companies and coins for full disclosure. So let's take a look at Bitcoin here. And right now, Bitcoin is at 38,349. One thing I'm not liking on this setup right now is, this is on the 1 hour chart, by the way. The price is at 38, obviously, 1,358. But I'm looking at the RSI here. The RSI, we hit a kind of a low here a little bit, 25 RSI. But if we go up to the previous low here, it was right around, let me zoom this out. Oh, there we go. It was about 14.81. And the price was a bit lower at, or higher at that point. It was at 39,000 roughly. So we're seeing this price decrease trend happening here while the RSI is going up. So I don't like the setup right now. Even if we look at it on here, RSI is obviously at 37.2. Last time we were down here for the low was around 14 or so. And we can see that the price is obviously lower now than it was back then. And the RSI is higher. So on the 1 hour chart, that doesn't bode well for me. I think we are possibly going to be testing our support here at 37,500. Unfortunately, if things progress the way that they are, we're obviously seeing a lot of selling pressure here. Anytime that we go up, we're being sold. We go up, we're being sold off. So we'll see how this plays out. But I think right now we may be testing that. If we don't hold that line there, which we held it back here in February 27th or so, we may be obviously going back down to maybe around the 34,000 mark after that. If that doesn't hold, let me see if I can zoom this out. Our next support line is roughly going to be the 32,700 mark. And if I can't, I don't know if I can see it on here, but I think we came pretty close to touching it the last time we dropped. Actually, no, we were halfway between the lines here. So I'm not too thrilled with the way things are shaping up right now in Bitcoin. I think we got a little bit more pain going into it. We may see some lower lows here happening, so we'll see how this plays out. Ethereum is also following suit as Bitcoin. You can see here on the RSI, last time we were here, we were at a price of 2,500, roughly 2,600, and now we are at 25.5 or so, and the RSI is flat. That doesn't bode well as well, so I think we may be coming down for some more pain in the crypto market here. So let's take a look at the hash rate on Bitcoin Network. I'm going to reload this, and we have actually come down on it a little bit. So hash rate is down to 168 million. It's down 6.56% in the last 24 hours. Miners could be, shutting down in places. We get a little bit of a cold spell again coming in. So we'll see how this plays out. But obviously the trend is still going up higher. It's just that the lines the differences between the peaks and the lows has obviously gotten more dramatic here as time has gone on, it looks like. So we'll see how this also plays out. Obviously, this means miners are making less. Bitcoin's coming down, miners are making less again. So it's a double whammy for them. So let's take a look at the miners here. We'll take a look at Annie, see their short interest. So the latest data that we have is from 2/15 on them, and they got basically 5.6 million shares being shorted right now. This was at least 2 weeks ago or so. But we're seeing that increase in a lot of these miners here as well. Argo doesn't have any short interest data. Bitfarms obviously had a huge spike as well. Prior to that, it was at 5.3 million, and that was on the end of January. In the middle of February, it jumped up to 10.6 million, so a huge short interest in Bitfarms. Cleanspark, didn't want that. Cleanspark here, same thing. We can see the short interest is increasing over time, and it's at 7.2 million right now, which is quite a lot considering their float is around, 41 million. So what is that? Close to 20% or so, 20-some% of their shares are being shorted. Then we got Cores. Cores obviously huge increase in short interest as well. It is up to 4.8 million compared to 3.4 the last month. Digihost, slight increase on them to almost 2 million shares being shorted. DMG doesn't have anything. Hive has also had a pretty big increase to 14.4 million from 9.7. And then Hut has had a steady increase over the months here to 11.9 million right now. So a lot of people are betting against the miners and Bitcoin, it looks like. Iris Energy, slight increase from the month prior, so it's at 420,000 shares or so. Before it was 400,000, so a slight increase on the shares being shorted there. And Marathon has been kind of almost flat. Last one was 20.46. Now it's actually went down a little bit, 20.33. So it looks like that's coming down on short interest for them. Mawson, huge increase in amount of shares being shorted as well, 410,000 compared to 261, almost a 75% increase or so. And Riot, surprisingly, Riot is actually coming down here on the last couple of weeks here. Not weeks, but a couple of months. Each bar is approximately 2 weeks behind. So 17.1 million shares being shorted. And it looks like that was the same. And then prior to that was 18.9 million. So we're seeing a lot of shares being shorted on these guys. A lot of people don't have confidence that Bitcoin is going to go up, and that's why they're, I think, shorting it right now. So let's take a look at the numbers I have for analysts and institutions. I updated all my sheets on that. So let's go with Argo first. Argo here is pretty much flat as far as institutions. So still 41 institutions, 63.06 million shares, 14.81%. That's still the same. Buy ratings haven't changed. 2 strong buys, 1 regular buy. And then we have a price change. They actually increased on the high. So, or actually, no, sorry, decreased. 357 from 362. And then the average is 301 now. And before it was 337. And the low is now 216 and 315. So obviously, the analysts are thinking that it's going to be obviously harder to mine Bitcoin because Bitcoin prices are going down and the hash rate is going up, so they're lowering their pricing on some of these miners here. Let's take a look at Bitfarms. Bitfarms institutions stayed the same, 28 million shares, 14.7% owned. Buy rating is still the same, 1 single buy rating. And they did actually increase their analyst ratings or targets. 785 is the high, average same, and low is the same as well. Cleanspark, institutions stayed the same. Same 124 institutions, 11.6 million shares, 31.93% owned. Strong 1 buy rating, 1 regular buy rating as well. That stayed the same. Price has come down on it, so $30 compared to $35 just a couple of months ago. Average is 23 to 25 was the prior. 16 is still the same, and then 16 prior to that as well. So obviously we're seeing a trend here where the analysts are pricing them down a little bit more. Core Scientific, institutions stayed the same, 87 and 30. This is 30.16 million shares. Owned is 87%. That's possibly because of the merger. Strong buy, 1 rating, 1 increase in the regular buy increase to 2 now from 1. And then we had ratings come down. High was the same, average is down, and the low is down to 15. So a little bit of correction on that one. Digihost, institutions stay the same, 105,000 shares, 0.42. Not a lot of institutions buying into that one. Buy rating still the same with 1 buy rating, and price targets came down to 824 compared to 882. And average came down to 824 as well, and the low came down to 824 as well. DMG, institutions stayed the same, 7 institutions, 3.1 million shares, 1.86% owned. Buy rating stayed the same, 1 single buy rating. And they did increase by a penny on the price targets to 157 across the board for high, average, and low on that one. Hive, institutions stayed the same across the board here. 90 institutions, 38.2 million shares, 9.85% owned. Still a single buy rating on them, but they did decrease the price targets. High is now 393 compared to 4, and then the average obviously is the same and low, as we have 1 analyst covering it. Hut 8 stayed the same here. Institutions stayed the same across the board. Still 101 institutions, 32.4 million, 19.5% owned. and one strong buy rating, three regular buy ratings, but the price target did increase a little bit to 1570 from 1565, and for the high average was 1432 from 1428, and the low went up to $12.56 from 1252. So slight increase on that. Obviously, price, you can see the price here is 532 right now. So if still at least 100% increase if these hold true. And then Iris Energy, we had one institution, 3.6 million shares, 5.5% owned. We did get two more analysts covering them now, or actually more, it looks like, unless I forgot to put down the data here. But 2.3, so we got two strong buys, three regular buys. Price target for high stayed the same. Average came down to 25 and the low came down to 18. So decrease on those. So I think two more started covering those guys. Marathon, we have the same amount of institutions, 284, 38.4 million, 37.41%. We did get one increase in strong buy and one buy rating. And the price has obviously changed. It went quite a bit down here on the high, 65 from 74. And then you can see back in October of last year was at 91.52. Obviously, the average also came down to 53.83, and the low stayed the same, 48. So obviously, analysts are expecting them to make less because Bitcoin price is down and hash rate has gone up for the Bitcoin network. So that would still represent at current price 2282. Even if you get to the average, you're still looking at 100 some percent up, potential gain in that. And then finally, the last two, Mawson. Mawson stayed the same at 9 shares, or 9 institutions, 1.7 million shares, 2.51% owned. Still that single buy rating. Price target stayed the same, looks like, no change there. And then Riot. Riot actually got some more institutions in here, so we got now 305 institutions instead of 291. And we got 36.09 million shares compared to 33.4 million shares, and percent owned is now 30.98 compared to 28.83. Strong buy is still the same at 3, regular buy is at 7. Price target has come up a little bit on them to $53. Average is now $43.20. That came down from $46.58, and the low came down to $21 from $30. So at the current price, $14.92, they would be basically going up almost 200%. Or yeah, 200%, 2x basically from here, 2 to 3x, 14, so almost a 15, so 30, 45, yeah, about 2, 3x. So those are the changes here. Let's take a look at the miners, how they did during the week here. It started out to looking like it was going to be a promising week, but it didn't end that way. We came back down. So Bitcoin was obviously on Friday night when it changed over, it was 39,166 and 51 cents. So it was down only $47.71 on the week, down 0.12%. So it wasn't too bad. Obviously, we had a much higher high during the middle of the week, but it didn't stay there. We came back down. Argo was down 0.09 cents, down 10.57%. So that was quite a big loss there. Bitfarms was down, up actually 15 cents, up 4.56% on the week. Cleanspark was down 15 cents, down 1.58%. Core Scientific was down $2.92, was down 31.13%, probably one of the biggest losers here out of the bunch here. Digihost was actually up 10 cents, 3.23%. DMG was up 8 cents, which was up 18.72%, which is surprising. Hive was down 13 cents, down 6.81%. Hut 8 was actually down 42 cents, down 7.32%. Iris was down 5 cents, down 0.35%. And then Marathon was down 25 cents, down 1.08%. And Mawson was down 45 cents, down 11.87%. So Riot was also down $1.30, down 8% on the week. So if we look at the weekly chart here, descending, we can see that DMG obviously did the best. It was up 18.72%. Bitfarms followed by 4.56%, and Digihost was down up 3.23%. And then we got Bitcoin down 0.12%, and then everybody else did the worst here, along with Core Scientific being down 31%. So a rough week, obviously, for most of these guys here. Looking at the 4-week chart, let's see who was the biggest loser now in the 4-week chart. Sort of descending. Go to the 4-week chart here. All right. So Cleanspark has done the best. It's up 7% in the 4 weeks, followed by DMG. And then Iris is down only 2.4. Bitcoin is down 7.16. So everybody following that has done worse. And Core Scientific is down 36.67 for the 4 weeks. And let's take a look at the 8 weeks here really quick as well. There's the 8 weeks on the chart. So we can see Iris is actually the one up 16.86% on the 8 weeks, along with Cleanspark, and Bitcoin's down 9.13% for the 8 weeks, or 2 months. We're down only 10%. It isn't too bad. DMG down 16, and then Core Scientific down 35%, followed by Mawson, Argo, Riot. So you can see it's not looking good here. And then finally on the 12-week chart, if we look at it really quick, we'll take a look at the numbers down below as well. So Iris is the only one that's positive in the last 3 months. It's up 2.85%. Hedge bought it 3 months ago. Bitcoin is down 15.23% from then, and everything else is down. Mawson's down 57.93. So Mawson actually has been the worst on the 12-week chart here, followed by Core Scientific and Argo and Riot and Marathon. Everybody's down. Obviously, Bitcoin's down 15. Then you're seeing these guys being down 2+X. Some of them are a little bit less. Cleanspark is down 19, and Digihost is down 15. Almost pretty close to what Bitcoin is. Looking at the full chart here, going back, these are the monthly or the weekly numbers going back. I think it's 12 weeks, 12, 13 weeks. Trying to see if we can find a pattern here as far as when greens are happening, see if there's anything that's going to be changing, and everything is just sporadic right now. We obviously had a couple nice weeks here. In the 3 weeks between 128 and 211, we had quite a few guys that were green here. Otherwise, everybody else has been down. We had obviously the 14th of January, everybody was up a little bit for the most part, but yeah, it's hit or miss. It's all dependent on Bitcoin. What Bitcoin does, these guys follow suit, going up, 2x usually, or up or down, depending on which way the Bitcoin's going. So it's interesting. We'll have to obviously see how this plays out going into the week. It's tough being a miner. It's tough investing in mining stocks right now. It's tough investing in Bitcoin or anything like that. I always say dollar cost average in if you can. I'm possibly looking to buy in a little bit more next week. Things are pretty cheap right now, I think. We may be going down even further, so not financial advice. Do your own research, as always. But if you got a little spare change, buy the dip. Good sale. Things are on sale, basically. It's a good time to buy right now. Be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy. So I think a lot of people are fearful right now, so it's a good time to be greedy. And we'll see how this plays out. We may be in for a rut for a while until things calm down, or there's a resolution in Europe, so we'll see how that plays out. All right, that's all I got for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll take a look to see if any miners provide their numbers. The ones here that are blue are the ones that have already provided their February numbers. Still waiting for the rest of these guys here to provide theirs, to provide you with updates on those. And then once we do those, we'll see how they all stack up to each other. We'll do miner versus miner video on that. I'm still working on Sphere 3D, trying to get all the data for them. Once that is done, I'll do a deep dive video on them, see where they stack up with all of these guys as well. And that'll be coming out later on. As always, these spreadsheets are available to my Patreon members, so you guys can support me there and get the information, get the spreadsheets as well. And that's all I got for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And the only thing I ask, if you liked it, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.